guys.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back. I'm Megan.
I'm Dwayne.
And we are the Blended Family Marriage Coaches. That's who we are and what we do. If you're new here, we've now made our introduction. Introduce yourself to us in the comments below. We'd love to know who's watching with us today. You know, our tagline is, marriage is hard. Blended family marriages are harder. It's so true. And you know what? Just like traditional marriages, though, blended family marriages have seasons. There are so many seasons in our blended family marriage, and there's hope there. There's hope within the seasons of our marriage. So today we're going to talk about the different seasons within a marriage and how to maintain your hope through even the bad seasons. So stay tuned to find out more information on the seasons of marriage. So for the very best advice on your blended family marriage, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It should be right there, right below me. Ring the bell.
Ding dong.
So that way you don't miss a single episode. We air our episodes on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. over there on the East Coast. You get to watch just before you go to bed. And then you get to watch just after dinner if you're in the Central Time Zone, which we will be shortly. Spoiler alert. Anyways, so we talk about everything on this channel, from intimacy to boundaries to everything, to all of the challenges that you might face in your blended family marriage. And if you like this video, don't forget to, like this video. So Dr. Chapman teaches extensively on the 4 different seasons of marriage. I will include some of his materials in the comment section below if you guys are interested in following that. We're going to kind of take it away from the different specific 4 seasons, because he talks about things like the newlywed season.
Yep.
Oh, and P.S., don't ever leave the newlywed season. Why would you want to? It's the best season. Stay there as well forever. I refuse to leave it because it's my favorite. He also talks about like the empty nest season and the season of raising children and the 4 different seasons in your marriage. And it's really important work that he did and research. But I want to talk about the different seasons in a blended family marriage and how those change, I think, more often than in a traditional marriage. The seasons are changing right now. I don't know when you're listening to this or watching us, but right now it is the beginning of November. We had our first snowfall here in northern Nevada. The leaves are changing. Well, the leaves have fallen from the snowfall. And it's gorgeous outside. The seasons are changing. That's one of the things that I love about the northern Nevada area, is that there's 4 distinct seasons. So even in the coldest, darkest time of winter, we know spring's coming.
Right.
We know that things are going to change. And I think that's really important in this season in our country. I'm not going to get into politics because I want this video to be relevant forever.
Right.
But we just had a really, really tumultuous election. We are in month 2085 of COVID.
Right.
And it is crazy. It is a hard season right now.
Right.
But I think that we can hold on to the hope that it's gonna change.
It's gonna change. Eventually, those seasons, like Megan said, we know a season doesn't last forever. It's a season, and it lasts for, just like it said, just a season.
For a season, yeah. And I think that if you look over your life, if you can take a snapshot of up to this point in your life, you can pinpoint the different seasons in your life as well. Whether they're dark and cold and lonely seasons like we all feel in the dead of winter.
Right.
Is it called SAD, that mental health disease that people get from not having enough sunshine and exposure? We have all been there, and figuratively in our lives, but we can always look at the good too, that we eventually crawled out of that and the seasons changed. So we're going to talk about how to keep your hope during the good times, but also during the bad times of your marriage seasons, because they're going to change. We're taught this in scripture. Dwayne and I strongly believe in the Word of God. And Ecclesiastes really talks a lot about the different seasons. Right. It talks about there's a time to weep and there's a time to rejoice. There's a time to reap and there's a time to harvest. There's a time or sow or plant. I don't know. I'm not quoting this exactly. But it talks about the different times and seasons within your life. And it's no different in your marriage.
Right.
So if you're currently in a high season, the sun's shining, birds are singing, maybe it's springtime and everything's fresh and new. My favorite season is the fall. I love the feeling of cold, crisp air after a hot summer, especially when we lived in the Midwest. It would get so humid, and I loved the first like cold, crisp fall season because it seemed to just clean everything out. That was like my favorite season, especially in the Midwest. And the colors in the Midwest are crazy. You know, harvest time comes, and we were in Nebraska, so cornfields were everywhere and pretty colors everywhere. So I think that that's my favorite season. And you can relate those seasons to your marriage too, right?
Right.
We're in one of our favorite seasons right now, and I hope this gives you hope. But we are empty nesters. We do have a 14-year-old daughter who still lives with her dad, and we have her just as often as we possibly can, and we get to talk to her all the time. But for the most part, we are empty nesters. Next to the 14-year-old, our youngest is 19, and he's away at college, and we've got some that are married and some that should be married. And we are just loving this season of life. I'm loving parenting adult children. It's new. There's definitely some new, unique challenges there.
Challenges.
But I am loving it. And I'm really enjoying this season. So how do you handle these kind of seasons with grace and humility? Because the truth is that I know it's exactly that. It's a season. And not that I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop or for things to get worse or for the bottom to fall out or any of those other analogies or cliches that people say when things are good. I'm not waiting for that, but I know that change is coming because change is inevitable.
Change happens all the time.
It happens all the time. So this season is exactly that. And I need to handle this season with humility in a way that I'm thankful for it. I show more appreciation and thankfulness for this season than I think I ever have for any other season. I just love this season of our marriage, of the parenting that we're getting to do. You know, a phrase that went around Facebook for a while was something like, do you know what I wouldn't give to worry about diapers and sippy cups? We went through the teenage phase where diapers and sippy cups would have been a huge blessing. Dwayne and I never experienced the diaper and sippy cup stage together.
Right.
But we went through those stages also. Our marriage has gone through the honeymoon phase. Like I said earlier, we are not leaving it. I refuse to. And if you want to know more about improving the intimacy in your marriage, be sure to click the video that I'll put a link to right up there. That will help you not leave the honeymoon stage. But we've also been through stages, honestly, of I was just ready to throw in the towel. I'm just being completely transparent here. We didn't know what we were doing, and things were hard. Things were ugly, and we didn't handle that very well. Our communication was lacking. Our support systems for each other was lacking. The kids honestly were doing whatever the kids were doing. And we've been through seasons where our kids really challenged us.
Right.
I am confident enough now that I can tell them I didn't like you then. And that's just the truth.
Right. And they agree with that.
I know. They're like, I didn't like me either. I don't blame ya. Anyways, it was a season. And I can look through those seasons enough to learn that this season isn't going to last forever either. So I just need to find the good things and be so thankful for them and enjoy them and bask in them. Because I think when things are good, it's easy to put things on cruise control and just let them go.
Right.
Just keep going through the day-to-day. There's nothing real big pressing issues that we have to deal with in our marriage. Don't get me wrong. Life is crazy right now. Have I mentioned we release a book 2 days from now? Life is a little bit crazy right now, but in our marriage, it's easy to just set things on cruise control.
Right.
But that's when you really need to be so thankful for the spouse that you have, and you need to be very intentional about improving and keeping the intimacy with that spouse. Not only that, but this is a great time to set some healthy boundaries, practice communication skills. We've been in a season like this. Right now in this season, we're not walking on eggshells every time we have a little bit of conflict. We can improve our communication skills. So that way, if a time comes that conflict seems to be really rife in our marriage, we'll have the skills that we developed during the good times to pull out in that season. So I think that there's some intentional things that we can really work on during a good season in your marriage. So that way, when the seasons do change, you're kind of more prepared for it. And you have these blessings to look back on during that season, so I know things will get better. more. So again, that sets some healthy boundaries. Now's the time. Work on improving the intimacy in your marriage, and don't be afraid to communicate some of the hard things, because now's the best time to do it, to work on that communication. So tell us, we are genuinely curious, what season are you currently in your marriage? If you had to describe it using one of the seasons of the year, if you're in the summertime and things are hot and humid, let us know in the comments.
Right.
If you're kind of in the fall and things are whatever, however you relate to the fall, let us know. If you're in a dark winter, or if you love the winter and the snow is refreshing and amazing, let us know in the comments what season your marriage is in currently, and how you would equate that to the seasons of the year. Because you guys heard me describe the fall. What about you guys? Where are you guys at right now? Let us know in the comments. Okay, so we talked about the good seasons and when things are good and what we should do. But what about the bad seasons? That's so hard.
It
and
really is. We've
been there. I'm full transparency. We don't come to you from a place of everything has always been roses. I'm allergic to roses.
Oh,
everything has always been amazing, and we blended just beautifully, and all of our kids are angels.
Right. I like to say, instead of blending, like we just crashed.
We collided.
We collided. There's, like head-on collision, messy.
Mangled parts, mangled cars, mangled body parts.
Yeah, we really had no idea what we were doing. And so...
And that's why we do what we do, is to encourage people. We always say that we want to be the people that we needed 10 years ago when we first blended. We're going to have to change that soon. We're approaching an anniversary. But things get hard.
Right.
Things are really hard. In a traditional marriage, when it's not a blended family, the first year traditionally is the hardest. And I don't know what the psychology is behind that, but it's been proven time and time again that the first year is really hard. I believe it's my aunt and uncle. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I don't know how long they've been married now, but they like to say something like, we've been married for 44 and about 42 of them were good. And really, it was their first year that they talk about how horrible that was. In a blended family marriage, though, statistics have repeatedly shown that the second year of marriage is the hardest. Right. That definitely held true for Dwayne and I. And if you guys are in that season, maybe it's not the second year. Maybe, honestly, you feel like it's year 5 of a dark season. What you need to do, number one, is find somebody that can have the hope for you. Right. If it's a pastor, if it's a counselor, if it's Dwayne and I, we will be glad to hold that hope for you, that there is hope that these seasons are going to change. That's the first thing that I encourage you to do. If you don't have hope for change, find somebody that will have that hope for you. We would love to be those people for you, but if we're not, that's fine too. Find a pastor or somebody that you can cling to through this season that can hold the hope that this will work out for you. If you're in that season and you're able to kind of look and see, okay, it's dark and it's hard and it's cold and it's lonely, and that seasonal depression is starting to sink in, but you still have the hope that things will get better. If you're in a dark season right now and you're just being logical that we've had dark seasons before and we've come out of it, and I know this is just a season and I don't necessarily know what it is that's going to shift me out of this, but I do know that we're going to be okay. Right. There are some strategies that you need to put into place right now. The first one is don't neglect your marriage.
For sure.
So often when we're in those busy seasons or hard seasons or argumentative seasons. I mentioned when things were good, sometimes we're in those seasons where we can't have any kind of conflict without a big blow up. Right. And if you're in one of those seasons, the first thing that you tend to do is neglect your marriage and neglect your time together. Right. Dwayne and I talk about scheduling time for intimacy. Intimacy does not equal sex. Right. I'm not asking you to schedule sex. Intimacy often leads to sex, so don't shut that door, but schedule that time. This is more important than ever before. Follow the rules of intimate time. Remember, you need to be able to call a ceasefire during date nights, those kind of things. But absolutely keep that routine and make it even bigger priority now than it was before. Right. That is the number one thing that I want you guys to work on, is find time for intimate moments with each other. Right. Because then you guys can hold enough hope together. As one person, it's easy to look at the dark and look at the sad and think there's no hope. We're never getting out of this. But two people can come together and start encouraging each other and lifting each other up during this time. And the only time that can happen is during intimate moments. So kick the kids out, schedule a babysitter, do what it takes to work on your marriage. So remember, this is only a season, and that's so important to remember during this time as well. And pull out your mission statement. Dwayne and I did a video on this. We did a whole video on what our mission statement is and why we encourage you guys to do it. Our mission statement is to be the marriage that our kids need to see because they've seen a failed marriage and it's our time to show them what a marriage is supposed to look like. Obviously, I paraphrased that a little bit, but we did a whole video on that, and it'll be in the description below if you want more information on creating that for your marriage, because that gives you something to hold on to. That gives you a purpose to get through the season. That will give you the why to be able to move forward out of this dark season. So those are the two things. Put your marriage first. Schedule that priority, schedule those intimate moments together, and then focus on your why. Focus on why you guys are doing it. I don't know what the answer to that question is because that's up to you, but focus on that, and that will help you get through the hard seasons as well. Find somebody that will have the hope for you. If you don't have enough hope for yourself, we would be happy to do that. I'll put a link in the comments below to schedule a time to talk to us about the different programs that we have available for your blended family marriage. If you are having a hard time finding hope through that, please click that link and schedule a time to talk to us. We would love to encourage your marriage, pray for your marriage, and see if we're a good fit to hold on to that hope for you. Thank you guys so much for joining us again today. We so appreciate you guys. Again, if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button down below for the best marriage advice that we can bring you for your blended family marriage. Don't forget to ring the bell so that way you don't miss a single episode as we share on Tuesday afternoons. And if you like this video, like this video. Thanks again. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye.